Hi guys, so I'm Jay from Scorpio Moon and I'm going to show you how I created these Beetlejuice nails using the medium stiletto swift tips. So first we're going in with the shade Frisky with a large round full coverage brush. I'm just going to do a couple coats of this and then I do like to use a top coat over the top of the glitters just so they're nice and smooth. Then we're going in with the shade Mystery on the next finger. Then we're going to go in with the shade Slipper as a nude base, the shade White, and then finally the shade Kiwi. On the second hand, we're just going to mix up the order of these colours a little bit, but it's going to be the same colours. So I'm just top coating the glitters to make them nice and smooth, ready for the nail art. Using a long liner brush, I'm then going to start doing our little squiggles. So I did use a bit of the clear foundation just to do a little kind of like squiggle underneath just to guide me, but on the second nail you can see that I'm going to just go straight in with the white. But you want to kind of make it kind of as neat as possible, but remember it is a worm, so it doesn't have to be super symmetrical or anything. If anything, it looks more creepy if it's a little bit unsymmetrical. So we're going to go with the black paint and just draw our little lines just like so. Again, these don't need to be perfect. With the Tim Burton style, I guess the more unperfect the better in a way. Then on our nude one, we're going to do the no feet Polaroid picture. So what we need to do is just make this square as neat as we can. So I like to go in with a bit of a blob and then spread it, if that makes sense. Then you get more of a full coverage straight away rather than having to constantly build up the colour. So you want to get it as sharp as possible, but you'll see on the next stage with our white, we can kind of neaten up those edges if we need to. So going in with the white, you're just going to get your brush nice and thin so you can get it nice and straight. And you're just going to work your way around the whole of this black square. Once you've kind of gone around the top bit and got it the width that you want, and then going to drag it down at the bottom just to give it that Polaroid shape. We want it to be as neat as possible. You can also outline this with black, but again, you're gonna have to try and be super neat. But yeah, I left it like this just to make it a little bit easier. Just using the tip of my brush just to neaten out those edges. So once you've cured that, you're then going to go in with your detail paint in white again, and you're just going to do your little ghosties. So again, these don't need to be too perfect because with our black liner afterwards, we can kind of make these a little bit more squiggly with little lines at the bottom. But for now, you're just going to go in and make your little ghost shape. You want them to have the little wispy bits at the bottom. Once you're happy with that, you're going to pop them in the lamp and cure. And then we'll add some little black dots as well. You want to fill the space as much as you can as well. So we've cured that, and then we're just going to use the very tip of our liner brush and do 2 little dots for eyes. And then you can see here, I'm literally just dragging those little wispy bits of the bottom of the sheet. I just want to drag them and make them look a little bit more like ripped. It's obviously very small, so it doesn't have to be too perfect. It just adds like a little bit more detail. So with your no feet, this might take you a couple goes. I just like to make sure there's minimal product on my brush, and then you just kind of have to do a first attempt, wipe it off, go again, and just kind of get in the routine of drawing those exact words and just keep trying until you get them nice and neat. I do use, as you can see, a lighter pressure and kind of get it a bit grey, and then I go back in and try and make it a little bit more pigmented. Just because once you've got the words there, you can then build on top of them rather than worrying too much about kind of getting the amount of pigment right, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just going back in now. This was probably like my 3rd go, so just keep trying, give it a white over acetone if you're not happy with it, and you can do it, guys. So this one is going to be kind of like the Beetlejuice pantsuit that he has. So basically, you just want to get a nice long line right to that tip of the nail. So I would have the very point of the medium stiletto tip as kind of like your focal point, and you're just going to drag it down in a straight line. And then you can see I'm kind of widening out the top of the bottom of the line. And that also, it looks more like the pantsuit this way, but it kind of adds less pressure on you making sure they're exact because you can even out the bottoms and it gives this illusion that they are the exact size, and they're potentially not. So everything, it just depends how they look as a full package, I think. You don't have to be too exact. So yeah, just adding these little curved edges really make it a lot easier to make this design, because when you see lines like this, it can be like quite a lot of pressure. So I've cured that, and then I'm just going back to the Polaroid picture, and I'm just dabbing on a little bit of the shade Kiwi and a little bit of the shade Violet, just for those little like, he has this on his face, doesn't he? So I just wanted to bring that into it as well. Then I'm going to go into our Juicy Gel, and we're just gonna literally blob this over the top of our I feel like if you're going to have slime on a nail, it should go on a Beetlejuice nail. And the Juicy Gels are quite good because they've kind of got that sheer coverage. Rather than like covering the design with a green, you can still see your design underneath. So you can be quite free with these. Again, it's slime, so it doesn't have to be too perfect. Then we're going in and painting our other nails. So I've flipped it around a little bit. So this time we're doing Mister on the thumb, and then we're doing Frisky on the index, and then we're just going to repeat some of the design. So we're repeating the little worm, but we're going to do it on the green one. Again, you can see, so I start off quite messy, and then you just want to slowly use the brush to neaten it up and thicken it. You're always better to just get your design on in the shape you want and then build upon that. So we're going back in with our black detail paint just to bring these lines through. And if you feel like you've left too big of a gap, you can go back in and fill in some gaps if you need to. So the nude one for this one, we're gonna do the Beetlejuice sign. So you might want to watch this bit a couple of times, guys, as well. So again, we're kind of repeating the same process that we did with the Polaroid, but in white. And then we're going to go around the outside with the black detail paint. So this is a little bit more of a rectangle shape because it's a sign. So we're not needing to make the bottom any thicker. We want it all to be the same width. And then we're going to add our bottom of the arrow and the top of the arrow as well. So that's going to be the bit we just need to make sure we line up right. This bit's fairly simple as we're just doing our little white rectangle and then outlining it. So I'm just going in a little bit over halfway because we need to remember that we're going to do the top of the arrow at the top of the nail, and we want that to be slightly in the middle too. So I'm taking it slightly further over, doing quite a thick arrow. Obviously, if you've seen the movie, you'll know the sign. So we need this bit to be thick because we want to put the white lights in it. Again, you just want to get the shape that you want. And don't worry too much about how pigment it is to begin with, because you can always build up on that pigment afterwards. So I'm just going over the top of our arrow. You want to make sure it's a similar width to the bit we did underneath, and then we're just going to add 2 little points as well. So I'm kind of doing this really slowly in stages, just building up the shape, and then we can go in and top up that black a little bit more once you're happy with the shape. We're just going to draw one single line in the middle of this little billboard sign as well, and then we're going to do our white dots to mimic the white lights all around the edge. So we're going to take that down the top and the bottom of the arrow too as well. So then it's on to the lettering again. Again, just take your time with this, guys. This took me about 20 goes for this one because obviously we're trying to fit a very long word into a small space. The lesson of this is the bigger you do your sign, the more room you've got to write the letters. I realise this the hard way every time I do this design. but you've just got to try and squeeze it in. Because it's Tim Burton-y, I like to think that means we can get away with it being quite messy. So if you need to redo them, do not worry at all. I felt with any set of nails, you're going to do one attempt, wipe it off, and then do another attempt. So with this one, this is another great excuse to be messy. So if you've seen the movie, you know that none of these like shapes are straight or like perfect. So you kind of just get to have fun being a bit messy with this one. I like to kind of do it in like short lines. Then again, we're going to do our little taps with our brush with the kiwi and the violet paint just to give that paint effect. And then for the final stage, we're going to do our juicy gel on this white and black nail again. And then you are done, guys. This is the final set of nails. I hope you managed to create this set. Feel free to watch it a couple of times so you can get to grips with the design, as it is a little bit complicated, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you so much for watching.